What's going on, people? Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sunburned Albino does yet another tier list for you. This one is going to be, I don't remember, or I don't know, I haven't decided what the title of this video is, so I don't know if it's clear based on just you haven't clicked on this so far, but what we're gonna do is we're going to put the 3 PS2 mascot trilogies together, and we're gonna rank all them. So we got Sly, Sly 2 and Sly 3, Ratchet, Ratchet 2, Ratchet 3. I know they have different titles. And also Jak and Daxter, Jak 2, and Jak 3. No Ty the Tasmanian Tiger, because I only played one of those games, and the quality of that was probably not in line with the quality of any of these games, in my personal opinion, that I remember when I was 7.5 years old. So, we just got the 3 main things, and I've got the Spyro soundtrack playing for no reason. It just seems like something that sort of fits like all 3 of them, so... But yeah, and it's, you know, it's not just the same song over and over this time. It's the whole soundtrack just playing over here, so that's cool. And we're gonna start this off, if I remember how to work Microsoft Paint. Okay, so it's the same as the Kingdom Hearts tier list. It's gonna be great. We're gonna start with, don't do bold. All right, we're starting with Jak and Daxter. Okay, that's way too big. Please default me to like 16, and then... yeah, type it in and then, like, don't highlight it so it doesn't actually change. That's good. There we go. That's fantastic. Alright, so Jak and Daxter is... as far as, like, first games in a trilogy go, Jak and Daxter is probably the best one. Because it's its own thing. You know, all 3 of the trilogies are, they have different... like themes, and like some of them evolve over time or like completely change like their format and stuff. So the Jak and Daxter trilogy is one of them. So Jak and Daxter, you know, the Jak trilogy starts as like just like charming, like, oh, I'm a mute protagonist, I'm like Zelda sort of, and then we're just like, you know, happy times, like, oh, we gotta fight against the dark ego, but like we're just a happy-go-lucky, you know, like team of people that are like, it's for kids. And then they do the shift into like the Grand Theft Auto stuff. It's like, oh my god, what were you guys thinking? But it wasn't bad. It was just so weird, like you wouldn't expect that. But so Jak and Daxter, the first game, has a giant emphasis on platforming, more so than the other ones, which introduced gunplay and whatnot. But as far as like first games go, Jak and Daxter is maybe the most solid of any of them. It's really fun. There's nothing really wrong with it. It just, you know, it's good. Like, Jak and Daxter's a really good game. It really holds up. As far as where we'll go in the tier list, I would say that's an S tier. I would say Jak and Daxter, the first Jak and Daxter, is S tier. So that's good. So we put that in there, and that's fantastic. What's up next? We're gonna do it sort of like we did last time. We're gonna go through the, so now we're gonna do Ratchet and Clank. Ratchet and Clank, oh, it's gonna be good. Well, I mean, not this one particularly, but here's the deal with Ratchet and Clank. I played the Ratchet series, and this is gonna color my view of it probably, is that I played Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal first, and I thought that was the first game in the trilogy, because I was like 8 or whatever. And then, you know. So then I played the other 2 after that. I was like, wow, they really went downhill with this series. They had it perfect at the beginning, and then they just like took stuff out. I don't know what happened. But so, Ratchet and Clank, the first game is... the Ratchet and Clank series might be... I mean, Sly is like this too, where it's like... but, Sly's sort of different. Okay, Ratchet and Clank, this trilogy, is the games that made the most progress, I think. While retaining being like the same thing, you know? So like, the difference between Jak 3 and Jak and Daxter is astounding as well. But not quality, just in like tone and theme and what's going on there. Whereas with Ratchet, like all 3 Ratchet and Clank games are decidedly Ratchet and Clank games. You know, like they don't do anything super different. They don't, you know, change genres in the middle of the thing. You know, they're really fundamentally themselves, and they keep that identity through the whole thing, which is admirable. You admire them for that. That's cool. But it is also the case that I think that Ratchet and Clank makes the most growth as the series goes, to the point where, like, the more you play the later games, they sort of render the original games obsolete. So, like, Ratchet and Clank, the first Ratchet and Clank, just feels like shit after you play Up Your Arsenal. Like, it really does. I don't think that I don't think it holds up. And that's why they remade it. But even the remake is like, it still sort of doesn't hold up. They made it more like Ratchet, like Future, Tools of Destruction, which was a game that I don't think is better than Up Your Arsenal. But it's more like advanced or whatever. It's on the PS3, ooh, you know, so. But it is fine. Future was fine. You know, it just wasn't like amazing. It wasn't better than Up Your Arsenal, I guess is how I would do that. But so the original Ratchet and Clank, like, do I want to put it in? I sort of want to put it in D tier. Like, I really do, because it does not hold up. I think all the improvements and optimizations that they add as the series goes along they're so astronomical and so necessary that once you play them, it's like, dude, how did they even start with this bare bones package to begin with? But it's also cool that you see the growth, sort of like Kingdom Hearts. Like, the original Kingdom Hearts is almost unplayable now after you've, like, you know, had the refinements to the combat that, like, Kingdom Hearts 2 brought, specifically. So, yeah, it's sort of like that. And then it didn't help me any that I had already played Up Your Arsenal before I even touched this game, so I kind of have, like, Dark Souls syndrome from that, because I had played Dark Souls 2 before 1, and 3 as well. So, yeah, you know, I played stuff out of order, and it ruined my life. Story of many gamers' lives. But that's Ratchet and Clank. I think it goes there. You know? Like, maybe you could convince me to up it to C tier, but I don't think that... I mean, I don't feel a super strong desire to do that right now, I guess. Alright. Next up, we got Sly Cooper, the original Sly Copper. Sly Copperfield? Sly Copperjaw? He's a new Pokemon. I'm not gonna do the whole subtitle because it's so long. And the Thievius Raccoonus. Okay, well, since they split into 2 lines, it actually takes up a solid amount of space. Cool! Alright, Sly Cooper... Dude, Sly is so weird for me. I love the Sly trilogy. I think it is just as good as Jak and Daxter and Ratchet and Clank. Like, just in terms of, like, are these trilogies worth playing? Yes. On an equal playing field, you should play all 3 of these trilogies. But Sly's weird because, like, it's a stealth game, but the first game has almost no stealth mechanics whatsoever. There's dudes with flashlights and you stay out of their range, but, like, you walk up to them, they immediately know you're coming. There's no sneak button. Like, you can't, like, just crouch or anything. You can't. You know, like, you're just running full speed at people, like, hey, don't look at me, I'm being real stealthy right now, I'm gonna kill you, you know, so, like, it's an action game, and, yeah, there's no stealth to speak of, but, like, despite that, somehow it's still good, which is absolutely crazy to me, but, yeah, so, yeah, because, like, it's still good. So you just treat it as like a platformer, and that's fine. And as far as like the quality of the game goes, like it's pretty good still. It is decidedly different from game to game. Like, you know, in Sly 2 they add the stealth so you're actually stealthy now. And then there's, you know, like takedowns and stuff like that. Whereas the original Sly is just like press square to whack enemies with your cane. Doesn't matter what size they are, just do it. So, yeah. But, you know, so like if you play 3 or 2 and you get used to that sort of thing and then you play 1, it's kind of jarring. But it's not as much of a fall as with Ratchet and Clank. Also, I don't know, it's just different. Like, it's not even worse. It's just different. I think Sly is a B tier game. I think the first Sly game can go into B tier, and I think that's fine. So, we will put that in there. And I will call that good. I got my list of games over here so I don't forget. Next up, we got the incorrigible Jak 2. Now, here's the deal with Jak 2. Is that... Dude, what a tonal shift. The first thing, you know, Jak is mute in the first game, and then his first line of dialogue in the second game is, I'm gonna kill the Baron! So, he gets a little crazy. with the Dark Eco experiments and whatnot. And, you know, if you got experimented on with Dark Eco, you probably say, like, damn and stuff, too. At least. At the very least, you might say damn and hell. So, yeah. As far as, like, I think Jak 3 blows Jak 2 out of the water. I think once you play Jak 3, there's no reason to play Jak 2 again, because Jak 3 is just an evolution of Jak 2 and is better in virtually every single way. So, Jak 2 sort of has the Ratchet and Clank 1 vibe, where it's like the future games are way better and they invalidate the original thing for me. So, like, I would put, it's, you know, it has way more frustrating segments that are really annoying. Like, it's much harder. Jak 2 is a harder game, and it's just annoying, and yeah, escort missions are like the carrier. It has missions that are so stupid that I hate them. And, I would put Jak 2, like, C. Let's see, what do I enjoy more? The first Ratchet and Clank or Jak 2? Dude, I don't know. Where should I put it? C or D? Dude, it's one of the two. It's C or D for me. I'll say C. I will say C. It's just not Jak 3, you know? Like, that's the main problem with Jak 2. It's just not Jak 3. I've heard people say that, like, they think Jak 2 is better, and, like, I don't know what you're dabbing, but give me a hit, because that must be some crazy shit. Yeah. Alright, but that's Jak 2. Maybe I'll, like, move some of these around, like, as we go, like, through. So, don't be thinking these are the final stuff, although they very well also could be. So next up, we've got Ratchet and Clank Going Commando. Is it better than the first game? Yeah. Is it better by an amount that is noticeable? Not really, sorta. A little bit. Like, the difference between Ratchet and Clank Going Commando for me is almost negligible. I think they improve, because what is it, like, I forget. Did Ratchet and Clank, did the first game even have gun upgrades? Like, weapon levels? Or were they, like, so low that it didn't, like, they only went to V3 or something? Or is Going Commando what introduced it to going to V3? And then Up Your Arsenal was like, no, we're gonna do V5, and we're even gonna do V8 in the New Game Plus section. So, I don't necessarily remember. But I do know that Ratchet and Clank Going Commando is enough of a step up to bridge a tier gap. So I think I would put it there. Yeah. I think that's okay. It's, you know, like you think of all these trilogies, and you say to yourself, wow, like these are all three of these are such solid trilogies. I recommend them wholeheartedly. But then, like, you place the games wildly differently on the tier list. But it doesn't negate the fact that they're all worth playing, I think is important to note. I don't even, what the hell soundtrack was that? Okay, well, I recognize this one now. Next up is Sly 2. Band of Thieves. Sure, you know, I could just say Sly 2, but that's fine. You know, Jak 2 and Jak 3, they don't have any subtitles. They're just themselves. All right. Woo! Love that in the soundtrack. Okay. Sly 2 Band of Thieves. So, you had the original Sly Cooper not have any stealth in it, and then you had the second game be like, oh, I think we should put some stealth in this game. Do you think so? Like, yeah, I think that would be a good, you know, thematic decision for our stealth game is to have some stealth in it. So they were like, let's put some stealth in it. Stealth? Sounds good? Yeah, stealth? Yeah, good. Okay, let's do some stealth. All right, let's be sneaky about it. Haha, you can't just put stealth in a non-stealth game willy-nilly. You gotta do it stealthily, because that way people will, you know, not even know that it's coming, and then they'll react more positively to it out of surprise. So Sly 2 is a stealth game, and it's a good stealth game. It introduces health bars instead of the horseshoe stuff that you had, like the good luck charm where it's sort of like Sonic and like, oh, you lose one ring and you're dead. Or if you get hit when you don't have anything, then you're dead, basically. I mean, it's not like he had like 100 horseshoe charms and they all just exploded out of him when he got hit, but it's like the same basic concept. So then Sly 2 introduces health bars, introduces missions, that's right, and it also introduces playing as multiple characters. So Sly 2 really knocks it out of the park in terms of innovation for going from Sly 1 to Sly 2. So it's very good at being a new game, being a better game, being an expanded and more honed and refined game. So Sly 2, I would say, the only thing, like, I'm not sure if I like Sly 2 or 3 better. I'm sort of not sure. Because, like, they feel sort of lateral changes between 2 and 3. But that are noticeable, and it's sort of like they just kind of take on a different atmosphere about them. But I would say that Sly 2 is A tier. I think that is fine to say for now. Perhaps we will revisit that, but that sounds okay to me. Next up, we've got Jak 3, because you really can't, even as I was just describing it, like, it can't be understated how many good changes the Sly series has made since its inception, so that's cool. Next up we have Jak 3. Jak 3 is, it's not my favorite game out of the entire thing that we're ranking right now, but it's probably my second favorite game out of the entire thing we're ranking right now. Jak 3 is the best Jak game to me. And maybe it's even that I would, no, Jak and Daxter can still be S tier. I would have thought about moving it to A tier, but I think it's still really good for what it is and does, so. Jak 3 is a better Jak 2 in literally every single way. Every actual single way, Jak 3 is an improvement over Jak 2. Jak 3, I think Jak 2 had cheats too, but Jak 3 makes them more valuable and more fun to obtain, because you got the precursor orbs. Dude, remember, Jak and Daxter precursor orbs were everywhere. You'd trip over them on your way to work. There'd like 1,000 of them, just all over the place. And then they become so rare in like 2 and 3, you're like, oh man, I actually, like, it's so cool that I collected a precursor orb right now. I'm gonna use that to unlock infinite ammo. It's gonna be sick! So, or turbo jetboard in the desert. That's fun to do. Dude, you ever do turbo jetboard in the desert instead of just taking your car? That's fun. I enjoy doing that. Yeah, so Jak 3 has infinitely way more replayability than Jak 2 for me. I beat this game probably 5 times in a row. And did like new game plusy stuff and unlocked almost every cheat except invincibility. So it was good. Jak 3's got tons of sustainability. It's really cool to unlock the cheats. I just think everything about it is more polished and tonal and like, I just think it's so good. I think it's so good. Jak 3 is also S tier to me. So yeah, that's my final say on it. And then next up, we've got Ratchet and Clank. Up your arsenal. Up your arsenal. Dude, this name was so good that they had to name it something else in the UK. Because it was like, because in the UK they say arse. So it's like, oh man. Hey, Ratchet and Clank, up your fucking ass, bro. What do you think about that? So, it's, yeah, dude, great. It's the best game title, actually, of all time. It's better than Fractured Butthole. It's, yeah, Up Your Arsenal is the best title for a video game actually ever made. So congratulations on that. You win that award right out of the gate. Up Your Arsenal is also my favorite game in the entire of all of this. It's also my favorite PS2 game of all time. And then right behind that is Kingdom Hearts 2. So yeah, Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal. Dude, it's got more replayability. It's got more, it's so, dude, I've played it at least 12 times on the same New Game Plus file, just restarting the game over and over again and like getting billions of bolts and upgrading all my weapons, unlocking all the skins, getting all the titanium bolts or whatever it is, the platinum bolts. I forget what it is in the third game. Gold bolts? Titanium bolts? I don't know. So, dude, they have everything. They got the hidden collectibles, they have challenges to complete, they have just... It's so good. And then, like, the New Game Plus thing has the thing where, like, if you don't get hit, then your bolt multiplier goes up, so you just keep earning so much money, and it feels so amazing when you're amazing at the game. So Ratchet and Clank, it's so good. This game is perfect. It's actually a perfect game. It's 100% perfect. There's not a single thing wrong with it. Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal is the best PS2 game ever made. Albino seal of approval. You can quote me on that anytime you want. It goes into S tier. So that is, dude, if it had its own tier, it should have its own tier, really. If there was like a perfect tier. But isn't S tier perfect tier? S tier is like close to perfect tier. I don't know, but like, yeah. So that's super good. Oh, and we're not doing like the games that are not part of the trilogy. So like there's no Jak X Combat Racing, A, because I never played that game, and B, for the rules. And there's also no Ratchet Deadlocked, which is a game that's actually pretty good. It feels sort of less... It feels not as much a Ratchet and Clank game, because it's just like a gladiator thing like the whole time. But like it's still really fun, and also you get to do co-op, and it's really good co-op. It's a really good co-op game. I think people underrate Deadlocked. Or maybe they don't. Maybe everybody agrees that Deadlocked is also really good, and is probably in the top 3 Ratchet and Clank games of all time. I would say so. I would say the top 3 Ratchet and Clank games are Up Your Arsenal. I guess... I think Deadlocked would be number 2, and then Future Tools of Destruction would be number 3. For me, specifically, so... Yeah, okay. So then we have... You know, once they got past Future Tools of Destruction, they started doing, like, Quests for Booty and all these, like, bootleg knockoff games. I was like, no thanks. Like, what have you done? You've done the same thing that they did with Spyro with, like, Enter the Dragonfly and all the Dark of the Moon Skylanders bullshit. Like, okay. We're seeing our hero become too washed up for his own good, and it's just not good anymore. You know, same thing most mascots do. Eventually they get old, you know? You know, you start off and you're like, oh, I'm Crash Bandicoot. I'm feeling the Cortex is gonna strike back right now, and it's great, because everyone loves me. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm Wrath of the Titans. What the fuck? What happened? Crash of the Titans. Twinsanity, which is technically a fun game to play, but like it's just so shoddy that it's embarrassing. So, but it is a funny game, so that's cool. What were we talking about? What was next? Oh yeah, we just did Up Your Arsenal. And that leaves us with Sly 3. So Sly 3, Honor Among Thieves. Ooh, this is the only game I gave a colon to. All right, let's take it away. That's playing favoritism, and I don't approve of that. Sly 3, Honor Among Thieves, is... So it's like, you know, in Sly 2, the big enemies, you would hit them, and they would stagger, and they'd, like, get pushed back a certain way. But then they would, like, sort of instantly shoot you, like, instant counterattack, because you're supposed to sneak up behind them and press triangle and, like, knock them in the air and then take them down. But if you just hit them, then they're like, they made it like you're not supposed to win a one-on-one fight with a big enemy in Sly 2. Then in Sly 3, they introduced, like, the big enemies don't stagger anymore, but they don't auto counterattack you either. So you can sort of, like, play around them. And I don't know if I like that better or not. Like, I mean, you're still just supposed to take them out from behind. But I don't know. And then they made Carmelita, like, not Carmelita anymore. And, but, like, there was nothing... I think Sly 3 is a lateral move. I think it's an A-tier game. I think 2 is an A-tier game, and 3 is an A-tier game. So, like, if you want to talk about the most consistent trilogy, that would be Sly Cooper. Whereas Jak and Ratchet and Clank, they have their highs and lows, but mostly highs. Except for Ratchet and Clank, which I guess has a low and a medium and a high. For my particular purposes. But I still... Okay, well, so then let's look at this tier list and what do we see from it. what you see is that Jak and Daxter and Jak 3 are S tier, which leaves Jak 2 in C tier. So you've got, you know, and a lot of times sequels are like not as good as the first game. But a lot of times they are. And then the third game is usually where you're like, oh, they've really perfected what they're trying to do here. So, you know, that's cool. So, like, you've got the third game S tier, third game S tier, third game A tier. So, like, yeah, that's good. So I think if you were to then judge, like, just the overall quality of the trilogy, I think Jak and Daxter... Well, okay, how do you do this mathematically? So, like, okay. If F is 0, D is 1, C is 2, B is 3, A is 4, S is 5. And you add them up points-wise. Jak and Daxter gets 10, 12 points, because 2 5s and a 2, so that's 12. Sly gets 4, 4, 3, so that's 11. Okay, so the Jak series is like 1 better than the Sly series overall. And then Ratchet and Clank, I guess, would come in third. But I don't even agree with that, because, like, Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal is the best game on here. So, I don't know, man. I feel like that's something to talk about in the comments. You guys can all argue amongst yourselves. That'll be fun. That'll be fun to see. But that's going to do it for this mascot trilogy ranking. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at Sunburned Albino, and consider becoming a channel member if you like my stuff so much that you want to give me money. Would appreciate that a lot. And I will see you guys next time.